Good morning, students. Welcome back to Anjuman Islam Abdul Azim Khatkate English Secondary School Washi YouTube channel. This is Almas Kazi. And students, today we are going to study history from Standard 9. And the topic for today is India Events after 1960. So students, today we are going to study in detail about the events that took place after 1960. India became independent in 1947 and thus accepted the constitutional framework in 1950 and became a sovereign independent state. Now, as when we talk about India, thus Indian society is multicultural and people of various languages, religion, ethnicities and caste all live together in peace and harmony. During the initial period after independence, India needed to solve different issues of economic, political and social development which will bring about a development in our country. So these three problems which were there after independence which India focused to solve. Now during that time, the establishment of planning commission and emphasis on industrialization was a means to achieve economic development and to eliminate poverty in India. And due to that, successful conduct of election and faith in democratic tradition made it possible for us to achieve political stability in India. Now, at that time, several social reformers and programs for weaker section of the society were sought to be implemented, which we can see over here, starting from this social reformer, that is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh, who played a very important role in bringing about a change in our society and thus brought a development in our country. So now students, let us start and talk about the 1960s. What happened at that time? Now, in the decade of 1960s, several events occurred which had a huge impact on political situation in India. And at that time, the regions of Goa, Diu and Daman were freed from Portuguese rule and became parts of Indian Federation. But the tension between India and China on the northern border, which had been rising since 1950, had culminated in war of 1962 between these two countries. And after that, the war took place. And after this war, the relation between both the countries had changed. But after India became independent, our Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he led the country and he was called the architect of India's foreign policy. And his contribution is very important with term to economic and social development that took place in India. That means he played a vital role in bringing about a development where our first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru played a very important role. Thus, after the death of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri became the next Prime Minister of India. And after he became the Prime Minister of India, during his tenure, India and Pakistan went for a war over Kashmir issue in 1965. And as we know, India and Pakistan relation became very difficult it was not on a good term just because of the Kashmir issue. And uh, after that, the Soviet Union tried to mediate between the two countries, that is India and Pakistan, to make sure that it would help to bring about, an improving relation between the two nations. Thus, Lal Bahadur Shastri, he gave the slogan, as we all are familiar with it, that is Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, which he highlighted the importance of Indian soldiers and farmers. And thus, over here, with this slogan, today also we are able to understand the role of farmers and the Indian soldiers. That is, today, if we are living a free bird, that is because of the efforts of the soldiers who are there on the border, who are trying every time 24 hours being active so that we live over here peacefully. And farmer, they are the one because of whom we are getting everything that we eat in our life. Thus, after that, he breathed his last in Tashkent in 1966, and thus it brings an end to the effort of Lal Bahadur Shastri. After that, Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India in 1966, and over here it is said that she became the Prime Minister from 1966 to 77, and afterwards again from 1980 to 1984. Her decision making ability was very admirable, which people liked about it. Now, during her tenure, Pakistan's oppressive policy in Pakistan resulted in a very big moment over there. As we know that her decisions, that regarding the nationalization of bank and cancelling pension of princes had far-reaching effect. And similarly, her decision, which was there, which she has taken, it always seems to be into her favor. And after that, over here, this moment which was there, where the people, stood in front of her, this moment was led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his organization, that is Mukti Bahni. And this crisis in East Pakistan affected India as well, because millions of refugees came to India. Thus, we can see that in 1960s there was lot of up and down which were there. And during this 1960, the tenure of 10 years, we had seen the effort being put up by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri and Indira Gandhi in bringing about a change in our country. And as moving further over here, let us go and talk about the 1970s. Now, during the time of 1970, that is in 1971, the war between India and Pakistan led to the creation of an independent country that is called Bangladesh. As you can see, I have highlighted over here to bring it to your notice about how the war between India and Pakistan led and in the creation of a very independent country, that is Bangladesh. Now, during that time, the role of Prime Minister, that is Indira Gandhi, strong leadership was prominent in this issue. Now, as a part of India's policy to use atomic energy for peaceful purposes, India successfully carried out an underground test of an atomic device at Pokhran in Rajasthan in 1974. And our main purpose was that we need to be independent in having all the techniques which we needed to go for a war. And in 1975, the people of Sikkim voted for joining the Indian Republic and Sikkim became a full-fledged state in Indian Federation. And during this decade, the political situation in India grew unstable as the Allahabad High Court gave the verdict in 1974 that Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister at that time, had misused the government machinery during her election campaign. And due to that, it led to a nationwide strike and protest. And during this period, the situation became more complicated due to the movement led by Jayaprakash Narayan. During this period, the situation became more complicated, and became becoming more complicated would where it went out of the control. The situation of law and order in the country was worst, and the government declared a state of national emergency. And on the basis of constitutional provisions relating to emergency. Now, as when we talk about over here, national emergency can only be taken due to that how the situation in the country can be controlled. Now, during this turbulent period, the fundamental rights of Indian citizens were suspended. And due to the emergency, the Indian administration became disciplined, but the human rights were restricted. And the period of national emergency lasted from 1975 to 1977, and after that, general elections were conducted. And this 1975 to 1977 was considered as the darkest hours of Indian democracy. And as we know over here, after that, on the backdrop of emergency, many opposition parties came together and formed a party that is called as Janata Party. Now, the Congress party was led by Indira Gandhi, was defeated by the newly formed party that is Janata Party, because at that time the people had lost faith, and somewhere or the other political parties had diverted their mind, and this political party in election got majority vote, and at that time Indira Gandhi got defeated during the election. But after the winning election from the Janata Party, Morarji Desai became the Prime Minister of India. But under his leadership, the Janata Party couldn't last long, as due to the internal differences which were there in the Janata Party. And due to the internal differences, it was not being able to let in a very smooth way. And after that, Charan Singh succeeded him, but even his government was also a very short-lived. As we know, elections are conducted after every 5 years. So during this tenure of 5 years, they have a power in their hand that they can rule and make things work in their own way. And but during the time of Morarji Desai and Charan Singh, everything was not moving smoothly. And after that, election was once again conducted in 1980. And at that time, the Congress party under the leadership of Indira Gandhi came to power once again. And with this, we are able to understand that the impact of Congress party and Indira Gandhi's decision had once again had an impact, and again it won over there, and it brought about a change and it came to the power. Let us come over here and let us talk about the 1980s, that what happened over there. Now during this decade, the Indian political system faced many challenges. as when we talk about over here challenges, we are talking about, the up and down which took place over here, which we are going to study in detail in with this. Now, during that time in 1980s, the Sikh in Punjab demanded an independent state of Khalistan and began a movement which went on to become violent and destructive. And this moment which was there, Pakistan had lent his support to this moment. Now during that time, the Indian army was sent into, a golden temple at Amritsar. As we know, the Golden Temple is a holy place of the Punjabi, the Sikh people, where they worship, and definitely an holy place needs to be a place only for meant to be for the people to worship over there. But at that time, to remove over there, Indira Gandhi had ordered and sent the inside the Golden Temple the police to remove the people who were hiding over there. And because of that, when Indira Gandhi had, sent into the Golden Temple to evict the terrorists, who had allegedly taken shelter over there, one of the bodyguards who was there in the Indira Gandhi's personal security who was there, he assassinated her. And why he assassinated her? Because of the the issues that was because their sentiments were heard that why did Indira Gandhi gave an order to for the people to enter into the Golden Temple, and because of that their sentiments were heard. So with this we are able to see that how one of a loyal and a very old bodyguard who was there along with Indira Gandhi, he assassinated her. And during this period, an organization called United Liberation Front of Assam carried a major event in northeast India. So with this we are able to see that how afterward the things started changing. And after in 1984, after the assassination of Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. And when he became the Prime Minister of India, he had, he tried to make reforms, and he made a reform in the field of Indian economy and science and technology by bringing about many of the schemes which could help us to bring about a change in economy. As we can see over here, there were many schemes which were brought. And at that time, he took a lead, in solving the issues of Tamil minority in Sri Lanka. At that time he felt, that he is going to solve the problems which were related over there. And because of that, he promoted of, a united Sri Lanka with internal autonomy to the Tamil community. But his efforts in this regard proved to be in vain. He thought that he would bring about, he could become a helping hand in solving the problem. But at that time, everything goes waste over here, because people did not like his interference into that matter. And due to that, he faced a lot of criticism in the context of corruption that took place during a defense equipment deal, especially the purchase of long range cannon from a foreign company called Bofors. And similarly over here, political corruption became a crucial issue in the general election that followed, and the Congress party was again defeated. So with this we are able to understand that how the things were changing. Several political parties were, they formed a coalition that is called the Janta Dal, and Vishwanath Pratap Singh became the next Prime Minister of India. Now, during the time when Vishwanath Pratap Singh became the Prime Minister of India, the policy for providing the reservation for other backward classes uh, was considered to be his important contribution. He could not, continue as prime minister due to the internal differences in the party which we had already seen. And after that, in 1990, Chandrasekhar became the prime minister of India, but his government was also short-lived due to the internal differences which was going on. And with this, we are able to see that due to that, how things were getting affected. Now, after that, in after the 1990 things started changing. Now, in 1991, during the election campaign, the terrorist organization in Sri Lanka, that is Liberation Tigers of Tamil Ilium, they assassinated Rajiv Gandhi. As we know, during that time it was, a very difficult time. First, the assassination of the mother, that is Indira Gandhi, and after that the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. And towards the end of the decade of 1980, the unrest in Jammu and Kashmir had begun. So with this, we are able to see that how the things were happening. And during that time over there, the terrorist activities over there forced the Kashmiri Pandit to leave the valley. And this problem grew serious day by day, and today it has taken the form of terrorism. So with this, we are able to see that how the things were getting difficult. Now let us come over here to the year of 1991. This year 1991 is held to be very important in the history of world as well as India. So similarly in this we are going to see about the changes after 1991, which was considered to be very important. During that time, the Soviet Union disintegrated into several, different small countries, and the Cold War came to an end. In India, the government under the leadership of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao initiated many changes in the Indian economy. And during this period, the Ram Janmabhoomi and Babri Masjid issue at Ayodhya came to the forefront. And due to this, the elections which were conducted between 1996 and 1999, no political party got a clear majority vote in the Lok Sabha. And this resulted in three government in a short span of time, which was led by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, H.D. Devagowda and Inder Kumar Gujral were the ones among them. And finally, in the year 1999, the National Democratic Alliance came to power under the flag of Bharatiya Janata Party, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee became India's Prime Minister. Now, during Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he became a Prime Minister of India, he tried to establish a dialogue with Pakistan but was not successful. And at that time, during his tenure, India also conducted a number of nuclear tests in 1998 and declared herself as an atomic power. And in 1999, there was another war between India and Pakistan in Kargil region over the Kashmir issue. And at that time, India defeated Pakistan in this war as well. So we can see in the year 1991, lot of changes that took place in the political setup, which we are going to see that how it had also affected the Indian economy. Now, when we talk about with regard to Indian economy, right, from the time of independence, the modernization of economy, economic self-sufficiency, and social justice have been the characteristics of Indian economy. And India wanted to acquire modernity and self-reliance by establishing industries. That is, we wanted to establish an economy that will be based on social justice, but through the planning it can only be achieved. And for this, the National Planning Commission was established that would coordinate, the development through the policy of 5-year plan. Now, what was this 5-year plan? This 5-year plan aimed at that we are going to see the development taking place, but we are going to focus one plan at a time. So, this 5-year plan program was quite successful, and it was needed at that time to bring about a change in our economical setup of our country, that is in India. Thus, the Narasimha Rao government started economic reforms from 1991, and these economic reforms are also called economic liberalization. Thus, the Indian economy flourished as a result of the implementation of this policy, and the foreign investment in India had increased at that time. There were many skilled Indian professionals who were there. They helped reform the Indian economy. Thus, the field of information technology had opened several avenues, as of employment in our country, and the changes after 1991 are also described as globalization. That is, we can see that how the things was started changing over there. So when we talk about globalization, definitely it bring about a change with regard to science and technology. That is, when we talk about over here, there were many events which took place at that time. There were two major events, we need to mention when we describe about, the India's efforts towards self-reliance. Among them, the very first one was by Dr. M. Swaminathan, who was known as the father of Green Revolution. In 1965, he implemented new scientific agriculture techniques and had increased the production of food grains. That is, due to him, we brought about, a green revolution in our country. And the next one, experiment in the cooperative dairy movement by Dr. Verghese Kurian, that had led to an increase of milk production in India. And this was called as the White Revolution. That means we are able to see about, the changes and bring about a revolution in the two different fields, that is in green revolution as well as the white revolution. India has made also a lot of progress in the field of atomic energy and space research, and we cannot forget Dr. Homi Bhabha to mention over here. He is the founder of Indian Atomic Power Program, and he had insisted on using atomic energy that is used for peaceful purposes. And at that time, India insisted, that we need to make use, for peaceful purposes. And at that time, we had given emphasis on generation of electricity, pharmaceuticals, and defense. And India has also achieved considerable success, in space technology as well. And when we talk about over here, in 1975, the first satellite, that is Aryabhatta, was launched. And India has also made considerable advancement in the telecom sector as well. So with this we are able to see that how the science and technology has changed the look of our country. Now we are going to talk about the changes in social field. That is, when we talk about during this period, there were major changes in the social field in India. Now, some of the changes when we are going to talk about over here, as we can see over here, in the earlier time, we had inflicted with number of problems in our society, either talking about the poverty, child marriage, dowry, etc. Some of the changes are related with the issue of the empowerment of women, and the others are related with the policies regarding the upliftment of the deprived section of society. And to promote the all-round development of women and children, a separate Department of Women and Child Development was created in 1985 under the Ministry of Human Resource Development with a view that how are we going to protect the women and children of our society, and that include the Prohibition of Dowry Act, Equal Enumeration Act, and as per the 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment, seats were also reserved for women in the local self-government bodies, where it encouraged women to participate in different activity and giving them the power. Now, similarly, over here, the Kakasaheb Kalekar Commission was set up in 1953 to make recommendations so as to improve their condition. That means many people played a very important role over here by giving their input at that time. And similarly, in 1978, a commission was constituted under the chairmanship of B.P. Mandal to study the issue of other backward classes. That means that the policy, with regard to the reservation was adopted in order to strengthen the representation of backward section in various services and institutions. And due to that, the government passed the Prevention of Atrocities Act in 1989 to enable those belonging to the scheduled caste and tribes to live with dignity and respect, free from fear, violence, and oppression of the upper class. That means this gave them a right in the society that they are accepted, they are a part of the country, and they can live their life as per their will. And which brought about over here a globalization in our society. And due to this globalization brought many changes in different fields like economy, politics, science and technology, and society and culture. And we have also discussed some of the changes with regard in the earlier time, that how the changes took place. And at that time, India has emerged as an important country on the global scene in the different sphere. And India was also considered as an important member of international organizations like G20 and BRICS, where India has also experienced an important revolution in the field of telecommunication technology. And after that, the mobile phones, internet, and the communication facilities based on satellite have spread all across the India. And in the political field, India has demonstrated to the world how a stable democracy can function successfully, and it can let the country move in a very smooth way. And all this has resulted in total transformation in the lifestyle of Indian and especially the youth. And these changes are visible from their dietary habits, clothing, languages, and beliefs. So with this, we are able to see that how the changes were brought about in our country after independence, and this event brought a change with regard to their outlook. So I hope students that today you all have learned about the event that took place after 1960s. So with this, let us here we end with our chapter. So I hope you all have understood it very nicely. Thank you and have a nice day.